What the fuck is up, world? Piali Tlaltic back. We're back. Another grito. It's been about a week now since my last podcast with my boy Aaron, and I don't know about you, but me personally, I've had to go back and re-listen to that bitch multiple times over because god damn did that boy bring the heat, right? A lot of great information that was shared in that podcast, and I'm looking forward to continuing the tradition. This one's going to be a solo cast, and it's actually going to be a little bit different than every other podcast that I've brought to you thus far. I know I said in the last two previous podcasts that I'm looking forward to doing something a little different, but this one's really different, and here's how. I've also mentioned in previous podcasts that I'm looking forward to expanding my podcast game, right? And starting to build, if you will, towards releasing course content in a way that extends beyond my classroom. Listen, let's get one thing straight. I fucking love my jobs, okay? Being a philosophy professor, dopest shit that I could personally ask for. However, with that said, there are some limits, some limitations that come with being a philosophy professor, specifically at a community college, namely in terms of what course material I am able to teach. What I mean by that specifically is my courses that I'm generally assigned to are usually relegated to either an introductory to philosophy course or an introductory to ethics course, which is fucking amazing. Don't get me twisted. I am not complaining, okay? What I am saying, however, is that philosophy extends far beyond an introductory course and whether it be to the philosophy field in general or to ethics, right? And well, with this particular podcast, I am looking forward to laying the foundation to my inevitable expansion to all the other fields of philosophy that exist out there in a more academic sense, okay? Now, obviously, as I've mentioned on this podcast before, these aren't going to be part of the regular podcast materials because this is not what this podcast is. This podcast is a grito, a weekly grito, weekly-ish, y'all already know the deal, of my thoughts that come associated with the philosophy that I have been discussing at any given moment, right? With this one particular podcast, though, what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to share with you all a brief part of my lecture from last week. So what happened is I actually have this semester an evening class every Thursday from 7 to 9:40 p.m. in the evening, okay? And last week was my first day meeting with my students. And I decided to myself, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to record my lecture for a variety of reasons. I actually have recorded many lectures in the past, and I would share those, but I just, this is new. So let's start with new. And as I was going through the lecture just to see, any particular thoughts that I, hit that I, wish I could have expanded on more, maybe ideas that I missed, I thought to myself, you know what? Fuck it, dog. Let's share this one. Let's let this one lecture be a preview, if you will, to what it is that I am hoping to providing in the future via the Patreon that I've mentioned before in the terms of actual philosophical discourse. Now, let's not get too carried away because despite the fact that this is a course lecture, I don't really talk much ethics because, again, it was my first time meeting my students, for one. Two, the batteries on my recorder ran out because obviously I wasn't fucking prepared to do so. I should have been prepared. Anyways, I got to about the 50-minute mark in my lecture before the fucking batteries died, which is completely irrelevant. All I'm trying to state is that it's not going to be very theoretically laced, right? It was my first time meeting the students, and with my first introductory lectures, I generally like to just touch base on a multitude of ideas that we're going to be discussing throughout the course of the semester, whether it be my introduction to philosophy class or, as is the case with this one, with my introduction to ethics class. So in this particular lecture, you can hear about how it's actually a very common example in ethics, right? Whether or not people would travel back in time to kill baby Hitler. And that's something that we addressed here in this introductory lecture. I like to use this as my day one starting course material because it's a very shocking example. It helps get students, I believe at least it helps get the cognitive capacities flowing in such a way where, you know, they realize, at least initially, my hope is that this philosophy class is not going to be like any other classes that they've taken ever before. How do I know this? Because damn, I've never talked about killing baby Hitler in any other class that I've ever taken before. Right? Never, let alone in such explicit detail as we're going to, as you will find as you continue to listen through a podcast. What do I mean by explicit? Some students are like, hell yeah, dog, I'd kill baby Hitler. And here's how. How do I not mean, or how is another way to perceive the explicitness of it? Some people are like, no, I would never kill baby Hitler. And here's why, right? Whatever the case might be, as I was going back and listening through the lecture notes itself, one thing that I was really pleased with is that, you know, it allowed me to be able to show a different side of myself. And that is the side that is I consider at least to be more of a, I don't know the correct word to say it, but I'll let you figure it out as you listen through his podcast and decide on your own. Whatever the case might be, I hope that you all enjoy it. For those of you who are watching, hoping to keep along with the YouTube, I will apologize now in advance because there is no video component to it, okay? It is strictly audio. So with that said, before I continue, don't forget to follow your boy, OG_Ice913 on the Instagram. Also, a quick shout out before this lecture starts to all y'all motherfuckers around the world. Your boy going global, dog. What's up? Right? Who have been downloading this podcast. I appreciate the fuck out of your support. For those of you who've been riding since day one, yo, for reals, your support is also much appreciated. And I'm looking forward to continuing to get more of these bad boys out to you. Hopefully more with fellow guests, fellow philosophy professors, and just continue to bring some of that raw, unedited hood philosophy that I hope by this point you have grown to know and love. So without further ado, here's the lecture, and I hope you enjoy. Peace. After a while, the faces, they all just all start to look familiar, I guess, or whatever. But I appreciate how passionate you were, if I may, with your good, right? I know the reason being is because, well, it's late, yes? And I don't know about you, but me personally, I'm just gonna tell you straight up because honesty is the best policy, especially in an ethics course. I was kind of dreading this all day today. I'm sorry, okay? It's nothing personal, but it's a 7 o'clock class. We've all had long days. Who just got out of work? Exactly, right? And I'm sure the last thing that you want to be doing on a Thursday evening is coming to discuss all the different ways in which you would kill baby Hitler. Yes? Who was looking forward to coming here to talk about how we're going to kill baby Hitler? You were? Is that really something that you thought about prior to coming to class today? No? Is it something you've ever thought about at all?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Like when?
When I'm bored at home.
When you're bored at home? Like of all the things you could do, that's the one thing that came to mind. How would I kill baby Hitler?
Because I like to watch the what do you call it? The crime stuff.
Okay. And Hitler comes up how?
He comes out on some of the documentaries.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's be honest, because again, I'm promising you right now. Just get it right from the get-go. Let's get it all on the table. Honesty truly is the best policy, okay? If at any point in the semester you feel yourself feeling uncomfortable with the level of honesty, you don't have to be honest with me or let alone your fellow classmates, but I implore you to definitely be honest with yourself because I believe firmly that the more honest you are, definitely with yourself, but also with the class, the more you will benefit from this course in particular. So, with that said, who here has not ever fantasized about killing baby Hitler? What the hell is wrong with you people? That's like a good majority of you people. What the hell? What's wrong with you? No comment? No? Okay. Who, besides me and this young lady, what's your name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, has fantasized about killing baby Hitler? Wow, just 3 of us? What's your name, man? Sorry. I know your last name, Porras.
No, my last name's actually De Santiago.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah, but I go by Achilles.
Achilles, interesting. Is there any particular reason why?
I've just been called that since I was born.
Okay, cool. I won't press any further, Achilles, right? Achilles, when was the last time you thought about killing baby Hitler?
I saw Avengers Endgame like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things is go back in time and kill baby Thanos.
That's right. You're absolutely right. I didn't even remember that. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to go back and I didn't really mind this. I didn't really like the second one as much as the first one, but that part right there, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch. Right? Now, just out of curiosity, Stephanie, and Achilles. I'll know all you people at some point, or actually I take it back, I probably won't, right? The ones of you that talk, I'll definitely know at some point before the end of the semester, right? I'm gonna make a conscientious effort to do so. So Stephanie, with that in mind, how have you thought about killing baby Hitler? And by the way, before you answer that, just so we're clear, I do mean baby Hitler, okay? Some of you all are gonna get really weird and you're gonna try this heap versus pile thing for me and you're like, well, how old is he? I don't care, fresh out the womb baby Hitler. Still attached to the umbilical cord Hitler. Just imagine he comes out with a little baby mustache and everything. I don't care. Whatever it takes to get you in the proper headspace necessary to kill without any regard whatsoever an infant who you know full well will one day grow to be a genocidal maniac. Yes? Okay, so with that in mind, Stephanie, how have you fantasized about killing baby Hitler?
Probably like smothering or drowning.
I think that's
Asphyxiation. Too easy.
Yeah, for what he did.
Oh, wow. That was pretty dark. I am a fan. I'm a fan. I gotta let you know, I am definitely not casting judgment. I am absolutely a fan. Let's get you a chair, because I don't think, oh, there's two over here. I apologize. Maybe not that one, because it's facing the wall, but the one behind it. You didn't raise your hand when you said you've never fantasized about killing baby Hitler. So I'm assuming this is
new.
This is new. And in its newness, you are already not convinced. There's plenty of space, my man. Feel free to walk in. There's a chair over here. There's two of them. You can walk this way with it. Actually, you know what? Let's take this one. Sorry. And you can take that one. And I'll move this one over here somewhere. Can I put it here for the next person who walks in late? You could be in trouble. You see, I'm gonna do to you though, unfortunately, the same thing I did to this gentleman over here, and you're gonna notice why, because I like to walk through here. I'm sorry. So we can move you towards like this lady over here. She don't bite.
There's two chairs right
Oh, there's two chairs over there. Cool. I'm gonna move these before you. As you will come to find throughout the course of the semester, I have like a personal space here. I'll make my absentee alcoholic mother for that, but we'll address those issues as they come up, as they emerge throughout the course of the semester. Okay? For now, let's get back to this young lady, Damaris, who upon contemplating the murder of an infant, decided that strangulation, suffocation, and drowning the infant is not suitable enough of a punishment for this particular infant. What the hell's wrong with you?
For what he did? No.
First of all, just so we're clear, everyone in the class is very scared of you. Myself included. Definitely myself included. For what I'm just joking. Like I said, honesty is the best policy. So you think that drowning, by the way, you ever hear like that little infants can like swim? Maybe if you like try to drown him and he starts swimming back, what are you gonna do? If he starts like fighting for his life, like, no, please, just hold him down. He is an infant after all. It's very dark, I know, right? What would you do?
I don't know.
You don't know, but you know that suffocation and drowning is off the table because it's too easy.
It's too easy. That's too easy. I would actually like, if we, yeah.
Burn him. Wow, who said that? Who was it? State your name. Who are you? Belinda. You shocked Achilles over here. Why, Achilles?
I mean, like, I would do it just for the sake so that you could prevent what happened, but at the same time, he hadn't done it yet. When you go back in time.
Yes, he had not done it yet, but
It would have to be quick.
it would have to be quick. Why? Wouldn't you take some level of joy of knowing that you personally are responsible for the saving of at least a bare minimum 6 million people who died by being burned at the hands of a genocidal maniac?
I mean, if I fought like a adult Hitler and killed him with my hands, then I'd be like, yeah, that was cool.
We're not ready for adult Hitler yet, but we'll get there. Remember how I told you that some of you were going to try to get sneaky and do a heap versus pile thing? Here we go. That's the heap versus pile thing. What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry, I'll get to you 1 second. Write it down because I don't want you to forget this thought.
I'm not going to forget.
Okay, great. Just so we're clear, heat versus pile. So it happens all the time. And then people are like, oh, sorry, man, I forgot you talk too much. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Right? Just so we're clear, in philosophy, the heat versus pile distinction is as follows. Let's imagine that I have just a scattered amount of pebbles. They're just laying there on the floor, yes? And I decide in my OCD behavior to begin to pile those pebbles together, right? So they're not all scattered all over the place, right? So the question then becomes, at what point in my action of putting those pebbles into one location do I accrue a heap of pebbles? Is it 5 pebbles? Is it 10 pebbles? Is it 100 pebbles? What says it? How many pebbles till I have a heap of pebbles? 10? 20? 13? How many? Someone say something.
25.
25. Thank you, Achilles. Okay. Now, Achilles. I'm assuming it was Achilles, was it?
Yeah.
Same name. This could have been this guy. What's your name? Eric. Could have been Eric, right? Let's imagine then, Eric, that I continue to throw little pebbles onto my little heap of 25. So now, 26, 27, 28. How many pebbles until my heap officially becomes a pile of pebbles? 50? Okay, so from 25, my heap, to 50, now I have a pile. Yes? Fantastic. At what age are you comfortable with killing baby Hitler? Infant Hitler? Fresh out the womb Hitler? 1-year-old Hitler? 2-year-old Hitler?
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter? Who agrees with Stephanie? It does not matter. Interesting. So while you have no problem with infanticide, just kill the baby. Who cares? Just get it over with. To be fair, if he's a baby, he'll have like this much life experience, and probably not much of it because he's not conscious, right? So it's not like you're stripping him and depriving him of anything particularly special. You might make him suffer for a little bit, which for a baby is probably a long time because it's the majority of their life if they were just born, right? But it'll inevitably be over, and then that's it. But the longer you wait, the more life experience this little baby gets. It grows attached to its mommy, not his daddy, because Hitler's daddy was kind of mean, I hear, right? It goes through various life experiences, and notice how I'm referring to it, stays awake at 3 o'clock in the morning wondering, what is this all for, man? What happens before I was born? What happens after I was dead, right? All these kinds of questions. And the longer you wait, the more little pebbles you add on to baby Hitler's pile there, the more difficult don't apologize to me. The more difficult it's going to be for you, likely, to kill that person. So when do we stop? When do we start? When does adult baby Hitler come into play?
Like 22.
22? Wow, that's very specific, oddly specific. Are there any 22-year-olds in here? You? Is that why you chose that age?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jerry?
Jay,
Sorry. What were you going to tell me?
I was just saying, the event already happened.
What event?
Well, the event,
The Holocaust?
yeah,
World War II?
The Holocaust,
Okay.
all of that stuff. So who's to say if you go back and kill Hitler, it just doesn't replace that person with a different person?
Absolutely. In which case, we do what?
Kill that one.
We go back in time and kill them too.
But it's like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, so what's the problem with that?
You're just killing people for what reason?
None whatsoever, aside from the fact that we believe it will stop a potential genocidal maniac in the future. Note the word potential, by the way.
Is that not what Hitler thought?
I'm sorry?
Is that not what kind of Hitler's principles were? To killing a bunch of people to...
Just so we're clear, first of all, let's get 2 things clear. Who is uncomfortable? Good. I haven't done my job sufficiently well. I think I remember your brother. I think I saw him on Saturday, actually. Yeah, you were killing. Sorry, Eric, yes.
Well, instead of killing him, why don't we just raise them?
Raise them. Okay. So you are introducing now the nature versus nurture argument. You were saying that if only somebody could have gotten a hold of baby Hitler at some point during his wild and turbulent childhood and upbringing, maybe, just maybe, we could change him. Yes? Is that what you're saying?
He had a lot of potential to be in it. We might as well switch it to
Wait, hold on. Are
something
you
good.
saying that a genocidal maniac had potential?
Oh,
It's a very
yeah.
bold statement. Very controversial
Did he
statement.
kill everybody?
I'm sorry?
Did he kill everybody? Like,
To be
all the
fair, Can you imagine just how difficult it is to arise to a position that Hitler arose to? I'm not trying to be an apologist or anything, but there was clearly something about that person that allowed him to rise to the highest levels of military and convince an entire country to kill Jewish people. That's crazy.
He was loved by everybody. He was a genius level person.
Right? Now, with that in mind, who believes, like Eric does, that, that's all funny. Who's seen Joker, like the movie with Joaquin Phoenix? Yes? Okay, for those of you who haven't, spoiler alert, it's been a while. Can we spoil it? What's your name?
Yeah, Victor.
Victor, can we spoil it?
Yeah.
If you don't want to have it spoiled, like, okay. Here's how this works. Are you okay? Oh, are you earmuffing? Okay, fine, I won't spoil it.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. The point is, it was a very controversial movie. You know that much, yes? Some people are like, oh my God, it's going to inspire a bunch of mass murderers. Like, no, I don't think so. Mass murderers existed long before Joker came along. You know what I'm saying? Okay? However, one of my favorite things was the memes. You're going to find that here shortly. Memes play a very critical role in my life, hopefully in your life too. If not, they'll definitely will be for the next 16 weeks of this particular class, right? And one of my favorite phenomena during the Joker movie was the different memes that emerged. And one of my favorite memes came from this young lady. It was actually a screenshot of a tweet where she said, me watching Joker. And then it's like the little star, the asterisk, and it says ... Whispered under my breath, I could fix it. Right? The idea being that I don't know, ladies apparently have this thing where they want to fix broken men, yes? And this lady was an example of it. That's a very awkward, uncomfortable laugh. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on blast like that. Okay. Now, that same principle has now been extended by our dear friend Eric here, who thinks that he could fix a genocidal maniac if only he got to him in just enough time. Who else agrees with that sentiment? Raise them high so we can see. What the hell? First of all, you wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
Now you want to save him. Second of all, what's wrong with you people? What's your name? Gilbert. Tell me why. People change. Okay. What about you, young lady?
Well, my name's Veronica, and I believe it's just like the way that you were raised, what you were exposed to is like how you turned out. So, I mean, that's why I would pick them.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with like her watching like documentaries on a bunch of like serial killers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Some are just born with it. Some are just
Yeah.
there's just something in their mind that no matter how they're raised, they kill.
One of my quote-unquote favorite serial killers, I say quote-unquote because it's not really my favorite, right? It's like a very grotesque thing that he did. But that was the first serial killer that I got that really like, whoa, it really caught my attention. But then I found out that he was afraid of dying and I was like, what a coward, right? Ted Bundy. Y'all notice that the dude from You looks like Ted Bundy? I see that. I see what you did there. It's very clever, Netflix, right? Anyways, who hasn't seen You? Can I spoil it? What the hell, guys? I'm sorry, it was like half the class. We're gonna talk about it all the time. Oh well.
Should make it our assignment.
We will have plenty of assignments like that. Don't you worry about that, right? You see, the beautiful thing about those kind of assignments, what's your name, sir? Jeremy, is they're super easy for me to grade, right? And as you will come to find throughout the course of the semester, the most amount of money for the least amount of work. That's my MO, right? So there will be plenty of assignments with movies and such as the like, okay? But for now, in returning back to our dear friend, Ted Bundy, not my dear friend, your dear friend maybe, right? He was raised in a relatively normal environment. Aside from the fact that his mom was his sister and his grandparents were his parents, but they weren't and all that kind of stuff. Like aside from that weird thing right there, everything else seemed to be pretty normal. He grew up in suburbia. He grew up with a family with not a lot of money, but enough money to survive. You know what I'm saying? And yet there he went off to become that crazy serial killer that he did. So what do we make of those situations? Yes, sir. First of all, what's your name?
My name is Jeremy.
Do I have another Jeremy in here? Cool. All right. Mind map. Here we go. Jeremy.
See, the deal with the Hitler thing is, I think it was a good thing that he did exist for the actions he did because all what came afterwards. You see, without strife in life, you cannot thrive. So we industrially, medically, psychologically, and philosophically boomed. But what came with that more problems. But that's going to keep on going because it's like it's Ouroboros. It's going to keep trying to chase its own tail. So it's going to keep on going forever.
So you're saying we as humans are bound to be prophets of death and destruction for the entirety of humankind?
Somehow, some way, we're hardwired to change that. But until then, there's no other.
You're saying we're hardwired for destruction?
We're not necessarily hardwired.
Yes? That's what you just said. And it's okay if it is, because I agree. And since I'm the professor, what I say goes, right? I'm joking, Jared. That's a joke. Haha, right? I don't disagree with you, man. I definitely don't disagree with you. However, can we extrapolate just a little bit from what you said? Just a little bit. Yeah? Okay. First of all, one thing, you can't see it, but I could see it. The look of astonishment. Astonishment is a good word? You looked astonished. When he was speaking, he was like, wow, I've never thought about that before. And it wasn't just her, Tamariz. It wasn't just Tamariz, Jeremy. It was quite a few people in his class, right? However, if we could just extrapolate a little bit further, what you were arguing for in philosophy, we refer to it as teleology. And what teleology simply means is a fancy way for saying end goal. Yes? And from a teleological perspective, the argument is generally made that history is progressing towards some end goal. And that along the way, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. Yes? So, as unfortunate as the genocide of the 6 million peoples of Jewish descent in Germany were, it was ultimately necessary in order for you and me to be sitting in this philosophy class here today. Are we clear with how that works so far? Who agrees? And you think I'm the crazy sociopath? Who disagrees? Who has no idea what the hell's going on? Fantastic. I appreciate the honesty. Like I said, honesty truly is the best policy. Okay? Where did I lose you people? From the beginning. It's like 30 minutes, man. I can't backtrack that much. I'm sorry. What particular point in our last 30 minutes had you like, what? The beginning? By the way, from the very beginning, okay, the baby Hitler question is one of my favorite questions. And it's going to be one that we address all semester long. Yes? So we'll situate it in the baby Hitler debate. Yes? And then we'll trace it from baby Hitler 1 to all the things that could have been prevented had we just killed one baby. One baby. That's it. Okay? Hundreds of millions of soldiers that died in World War II battle could potentially have been saved. The 6 million Jewish people that died in concentration camps could have potentially been saved. The hundreds of millions of people across the world who grew up orphaned and widowed, etc., their lives could have potentially been saved had it been for the act of just one person, Stephanie, killing baby Hitler. By the way, before I continue, does anybody else have any other ways they like to kill baby Hitler?
I would give him to the cartel.
That's the last thing you want to do. What if they raise him? What if they do what Eric said and they learn say, hey, this is a good one. You take this. You think Chapo was bad? Geez, look at this guy. Right? Why the cartel?
Because I mean, what if if you mess up in the cartel, then you're done. So hopefully you just messed up along the way.
Okay, that's interesting logic. I just have all these images right now from all the gore videos that the cartel posts online. I'm just like, oh, I need new friends. Why do you people send me this kind of stuff, right? And then the worst part is, like, I know what they're sending me, and I'm just like, well, let's watch it. I know it's going to give me nightmares, but here we go, right? Slavery in America, good or bad? Everyone was like, oh, I wasn't ready for that. Slavery in America, good or bad?
Bad.
Who says bad? Everyone in this class says that it's bad.
I didn't say it was bad.
Jay
Jay.
Jay did not say that it's bad. Who else, along with Jay, does not think that slavery in America was bad? Wow, okay. Who is afraid to admit one way or another whether they think slavery in America was bad? Okay.
Depends on your views and your morals, what you believe. You know.
Sure. What did you say?
I didn't pick either. 'Cause
You didn't pick either? Neither did.
There's two sides. There's two sides of
Yeah,
it. Like
there's
it was
pros,
good for
there's
one.
cons.
It was good for one person and it was bad for another person.
I didn't benefit from it. Did you?
I don't know. Who knows if we need to be here? If it went one way or the other.
Okay, so now we're following Jeremy's logic. Yes? Okay. Let's trace it even further. 6 million people is a lot of people, yes? 6 million people is a lot of people. But 6 million people is nowhere even near how many people were killed to make this country, the United States of America, possible. How many? Do you all know? I'm sorry? Anyone want to take a stab at it?
14
Billions.
Billions? No, that's too many.
14 million?
It's too low. Who said it?
100 million?
100 million. Who are you? What's your name? Daniel? Do you know this number? Or I'm sorry?
He Googled it.
Did you really? Very impressed. Did you know this number? Or did you just guess?
No, it's a guess.
It was just a guess?
Yeah.
You're right on the money. 100 million indigenous people were murdered in order to make this country possible. That is your ancestors. Those are my ancestors that were murdered to make this country a possibility. Yes? Take aside from that 100 million and add another 65 million, which is roughly, give or take, the estimate of West African peoples who were forcefully uprooted from West Africa, brought here to this country, and forced to build it from the bottom up. Yes? Now, with that said, who says that both of those things, while I may not agree with them, were potentially for the overall good of humanity?
When you put it that way.
Literally, that's the exact same way that it's been the entire time. What changed?
It's because I'm open to, like he said, whatever. I mean, I'm going to give you my opinion, but I'm going to listen to your opinion.
Okay. By the way, everybody in here who said that slavery was bad, why did you all keep your hands down this time? Just out of curiosity. Don't you enjoy your iPhones? Don't you enjoy driving on paved roads? Don't you enjoy the college education that you are currently receiving? Your frappe latte. Yes? What part of American culture are you not enjoying at this given moment? Do you not enjoy the security with being able to come to a class at pitch dark and feel more than secure for the most part, right? In your person? What part do we not enjoy?
Was the school free?
I'm sorry? Be a lot better, a lot more enjoyable, I'm sure. You didn't have to pay. And we'll talk all about that as the semester progresses, I promise you. But for now, let's just keep it from a whole. And know that at one point, even in this country alone, your ancestors, just by virtue of the color of their skin, were not allowed to even come to school, let alone pay for it. Yes? And for the young ladies in the class, up until like 50 years ago, you were the same boat. You weren't even allowed to come to school either, let alone pay for it. But now you are, because you live in a country that slowly but surely has come around to being open to people of color, women, people of different sexual orientations, different sexual orientations rather. All the little words that are on the bottom of that EPCC sticker right there, different race, creed, all that kind of stuff, right? Now you can come to school too. And it's all because of the sacrifice of the 100 million indigenous peoples of the quote-unquote Americas. I call it Turtle Island, right? Everywhere from the westernmost tip of Alaska to the southernmost tip of Chile. And the sacrifice of the 65 million West African peoples who were forcefully uprooted from their home and made to build this country. So how is it not a good thing?
I don't think anybody likes to think that somebody else suffered so that you can receive the privileges you have today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Anybody else agree? Who doesn't agree? Wow, everybody is in agreement here? That is terrible, because you're all completely wrong, right? How is it possible that the death and destruction of 100 million people and the enslavement of 65 million, give or take, others was necessary for you and me to be able to have a philosophy class.
Because if it didn't happen, we would still be in studies.
You?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause we're
Because
not-
as Jeremy tells us, I'm sorry? I don't understand.
Everything works out in the end.
Oh, got you. Right? I don't share your optimism, right? Me personally, I'm just waiting for the sun to explode. What's one of my biggest laments? I'm like, damn, I can't live to be 9 billion years old. Not because I don't want to die, because I want to die by the sun exploding. That would be awesome, right? Instead, I want to die by some boring way, like just getting some sickness or getting run over by some student here that's texting and driving, right? boring way. Now, think about it. What we're saying essentially, Jeremy, is that we as people are so base level, that we as people are so animalistic, that despite all the modern conveniences of technology, we are still rooted in a primal past.
Yes.
Yes. And you're okay with that?
I'm okay because that's what we are. We have to accept it. But then we know that, and that's stepping stone to be something better.
Ah, so you're not okay with it, because you admit of the stepping stone. Have you ever read Nietzsche?
What's that?
Have you ever read Nietzsche?
Nietzsche, parts of it.
Parts of it? What you're telling me right now leads me to believe that you've read a little bit of Nietzschean philosophy.
I mean, not as much.
Not as much? Okay. Who, let me ask you this, is content with looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, yep, I am basically nothing more than a dog with thumbs? This is a serious question. I'm sorry?
You're a primate.
You are a primate. So who's content with acknowledging themselves as such?
I don't believe I'm a primate.
You don't believe you're a primate? Why not?
Because after all these years, if you believe in the theory of evolution and all that stuff, not one primate has transformed into a human.
It takes thousands and thousands.
Takes thousands and thousands of years, and it's not how evolution works. Right? Evolution doesn't go in a straight line; it goes like in branches and stuff. By the way, one of the first actions that archaeologists and what is the people, Indiana Jones people, anthropologists have discovered that led to people becoming modern people was burial ceremonies. I'm sorry. What did you say? Aliens? Don't joke. I'm only laughing to try to conceal as much as I possibly can what I'm going to reveal to you in about 30 minutes, and that is what you're going to see is my slightly, quote unquote, conspiratorial inclination, right? I am not discounting the possibility of aliens. In fact, if we're being honest with each other, because honesty is the best policy, I am terrified of aliens. Yes? I'm not even convinced I'm not in this class right here at this very moment. You were really quick to say that you killed baby Hitler. Okay, that's kind of scary. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Right? Now, the reason I'm asking this is simple. If we're going to admit that human beings will never be able to overcome this conflict-ridden nature, we are essentially relegating ourselves to the realm of animal behavior. Yes? And that because of that, that basically means that we are nothing more than complex animals that can, dress ourselves and drive cars, but at the end of it all, just be animals. Yes? That all the progress that we portend to have made throughout the course of human history is really just technological. And that this technological progress is actually probably not a good thing, because if you look at the trajectory of technology, it generally ends in what way?
Robots taking over.
Oh, you speaking my language, Eric. And when those robots take over, what's going to happen to, you think, people? If the Elon Musks of the world are correct, at least. We'll probably go extinct for a variety of reasons. Yes? Because that is what happens. That is what has happened historically with the progress of technology. When technology advances, we, as people, in our animalistic desire, tend to do what? Use it on other people. Because why not? I have a gun, now I need what? Someone to shoot. I have a bomb, now I need what? Someone to blow up, etc., and so on and so forth. Now, of course, how this all ties into baby Hitler, how it ties into ethics, how it ties into whether or not we could have actually saved him. The answer is simple. Free will. Who thinks that they are themselves here in this classroom at this very moment because you conscientiously chose to do so? Raise your hand. Wow, that's a lot of you. Who says, no, I did not conscientiously choose to be in this philosophy class today? Everyone's like, is this a trick question? Is it going to deduct points? No! Okay? This is an honest question. Honesty is the best policy, as I've been telling you this whole time. It might have hurt my feelings my first semester at EPCC, but you people have made me dead inside at this point. And now I promise you that no matter what your answer is, it will not offend me. Who was not here because of their own volition? You would be anywhere else in the world if not for the philosophy class. Okay, I appreciate the honesty. Just out of curiosity, where would you be?
No, well, to be honest with you, I mean, I like to hear and I like to listen to different ideas and I like to learn. But when my counselor's like, hey, you need this class to graduate, I was like, all right, I guess. But after a little bit of hearing, I'm glad I'm here.
You're glad
But
you're here.
I'll be honest,
Like the
at
first
first I
hour.
was like, whatever. I mean, because this gets the wheels spinning, gets things.
Hopefully.
Start to think about things that you don't think about. on a
Like
daily
killing
basis.
babies.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know what this class was.
You didn't know what the class was?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Just signed up for it at random?
Well, because we needed it, but I didn't know what it was.
Okay, let's start with there, Stephanie. Let's start with there. For those of you who think that you are here of your own conscientious choice, by the way, I am a fan. Daniel? Daniel? Is that your name? I'm a fan. Do you? Yeah, I'm a fan. Like rising, I'm about to get a better view, or just uncomfortable. I don't know how you people do it. Those chairs are so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I apologize. If at any moment you feel like doing as Daniel does, please, by all means, feel more free to do so.
Can I bring my own chair?
I'm sorry?
Can I bring my own chair?
Absolutely. Why not? I don't care. We'll get up and stretch here shortly because there's no way you people are going to survive 2.5 hours sitting in that chair. It's not possible. I'll lose you, and then I'll lose myself. Like, oh, it's my life. Right? Free will. The ability to choose conscientiously with what you are going to do, rather, with your own life. For those of you who say, I am here because of my own volition. Let's take the lead from, who was it that mentioned the counselors? You? And you? Okay, fantastic. Your counselors determined, because of a set of paradigms that were already set into place long before most of us ever stepped foot on a community college campus, exactly what it is that you are going to do with your life for the next 2 years, assuming that you do get a degree from the El Paso Community College, which you should, yes? And in turn, what happens in your life within those 2 years. So what I mean by that is simple. You are all sacrificing things to be in this classroom, yes? Family? Who has a family? Children of their own, yes? You are conscientiously sacrificing time to be with your children, to be sitting in here learning about killing baby Hitler. Not by choice, but instead out of what? I'm sorry? I hope, if I'm doing my job correctly, that it's because of education. Yes?
Technically, it's by choice.
I'm sorry?
I said technically, it's by choice.
Technically, it's by choice. What do you mean by the technical part?
You chose to go to school, so you chose to yeah. You didn't have to come to class. You could have just skipped class or dropped class or whatever. You made the choice to come to class.
You look very uncomfortable, young lady. Are you okay? What's your name? Anna. Are you like, did I choose to come to class? Where am I? Where is it? Huh? Okay, I appreciate the idealism. I really do. In fact, I welcome it. It's like just a burst of sunshine, right? We live in a very pessimistic world, not by choice, right? But it is what it is. But I must insist, Jay, that we be a little bit more honest with ourselves. Yes? Okay, so I will try to guide, and hopefully you will feel compelled to do so. Yes? Who is here, by the way, honesty, even if it's only with yourself, the best policy? Because they actually, genuinely, truly care about the virtue, because this is an ethics class and that's what we're concerned with, of wisdom. As opposed to, Jeremy, who is here because they don't want to starve? Hmm? Jay, you know exactly what. You know exactly what. You don't want to starve. You don't want to be homeless. You don't want to have no money. Yes? And every single person in this classroom, myself included, has been told from a young age that in order to ensure that you don't go homeless, hungry, and so on, is what? Slang? I like that answer. Who said that? Jeremy? Achilles? Slang.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, don't apologize to me. It's hood philosophy, bro. I'm all about it, right? You gotta make bread, cheese, and dough from scratch. A little Outcast for you people. Any Outcast fans in here? Yes? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Little Aquemenite. Yes? Okay. For those of you who don't want to slang because you're afraid of ending up another victim in the school to prison pipeline, you do what instead? You get an education. Because without a degree specifically, not even a degree, man, we all had those people who come to our high school and say, if you drop out of high school, this is how much money you're going to make throughout the course of your life. And if you get a college degree, this is how much more you'll make, yes? Everybody had that. And that because of that, most of us are here in the pursuit of the financial resources that we are told we will secure once we gain employment. Who disagrees? Everyone agrees?
Do it.
Okay.
I didn't catch that.
We've been brainwashed, Jay, since young age to believe that without a college degree, you cannot survive in this economy, that you cannot survive in this world, that a college degree is a necessity in order for you to be a successful, happy individual. Yes? I'm not saying if you agree with that. I'm saying who here is it, because despite whether we agree with it, we still find ourselves beholden to external forces. Yes?
That's true.
What's your name? Yes.
John.
John, you disagreed as well.
Yeah, because I got money because I got a pension.
Okay, you retired.
Yeah.
Military?
Military.
Military. Cool.
Well, they medically retired me 100%.
Oh, cool. Good for you. Get more. Get all you can. I have a friend who has 120. I'm like, good for you. And so you're here, why?
Because I want to be a PE teacher.
PE teacher. Why are you embarrassed to admit it, man? I feel like for confidence for a bottom, I want to be a PE teacher, dog. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So everybody aside from John. Now, what makes John an exception is what? I'm sorry?
He was already in the military.
More specifically.
Money.
The money. He's not worried about where his next paycheck's coming from. 100% disability is not a bad lump of change coming in every single month, especially here in El Paso, Texas. He's good. He don't have to worry about that ever again. His health care, taken care of, right? None of that. Who else is in a similar boat? Jay? So Jay and John. The rest of us? Gotta make that bread, cheese, and dough somehow, right? And you don't want to just settle for regular bread, cheese, and dough. You want good bread, cheese, and dough. And the only way you're going to do that is how?
Working.
College degree. Yes? Because you're going to go, you might have all the skills in the world as an electrical engineer, but without that paper that says that you've gone through a schooling, all the companies are going to be like, that's cool, man. Come back when you got your degree. Because we have a litany of people here in line for this same job that have that degree already. Yes? So then, I'm sorry?
So I experienced that.
You did experience that. And because of that, you're here. And here you are, Jay, a young gentleman trying to become
Mechanical engineer.
a mechanical engineer. Comes to college for the first time?
Yes.
Yes? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to get this engineering degree. Only to be told what? You need a philosophy class. And if you don't take this philosophy class, you ain't getting a degree.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought about it like ethics. Why do I need ethics to work with machines?
if I may be so bold, and I think Eric here can just vouch for me, I think the people who are working with machines need all the ethics in the world. Because you are the ones that are building our future robot overlords, right? So if you program a robot overlord, have you seen what they're working on, like at Google, Boston Dynamics and all that kind of stuff? It's terrifying. They have robots that feed off organic material, which is just a fancy way of saying dead bodies. They're robots that are going to be made to clean up battlefields in the future, okay? Because, you know, when you kill people, like, the bodies just stay there. So you can either let nature take it and reclaim them, or you can just send a robot out there to clean up the mess. The good thing about the robots is that it creates jobs, it stimulates the economy, right? The bad things is, who's to say when the robot says, well, that's organic material right there. Why do I got to wait till it drops dead? I'll just eat it now. Problem solved. And then that's it, right? So why would a mechanical engineer need ethics?
That's true.
That's very true. You're absolutely right. It is very, very true.
You swayed
May have swayed you. However, we still have yet to answer this question of free will. I conscientiously chose to be in this class. Who maintains? Yes, I still chose despite all of that. You do. 3 of you. That's a significantly lower number of you. Let's try to take their hopes away from them too. Are you a fan of science, young lady?
Somewhat, but my reason for being here is a little bit different.
Okay, what is it?
I already have my associates.
Okay, cool.
In order to be accepted in the business administration department at UTEP, I had to have my ethics. Do I rather pay $1,500 over there or $400 here? So I came here. That was my goal.
Okay.
Choice, and it's coming out of my little pocket, so yes.
Ooh, you're paying for it out of pocket. Good for you. However, I would still press further and say that even though you chose the greater of the two, I was going to say something else, but I love EPCC. I really do. It's gainfully employed me for the last 5 years. It truly is the best place to start and finish. Get that degree. Get that degree. Okay? Just so we're clear. However, let's not sugarcoat it at the same time either. And we know full well that do you really need an ethics degree, an ethics class to take a business school?
They won't accept me.
Of course they won't, right? Now, let's press further and ask ourselves why.
Because of the types of movie of what it's going to be.
I'm sorry?
Because it's going to be for business administration and accounting, so obviously you want to do the ethical thing when you do your job.
Isn't it cool how they have they hire people like me to write these things? I'm not even joking, right? We have to try to sell the courses to you people in as the most appealing way possible, right? And what better way to make a class appealing to a student who knows full well they don't want to be here than saying, hey, you want to be a good person because you're going to be dealing in the business world, yes? And thus, we don't want to send you off into the business world with no morals because what would ever happen to the world? And then you get into the business world and you realize what? There's no morals. There's nothing close to morals and ethics in the business world. The earth is literally on fire. New York City had a record high temperature of 68 degrees just like a week ago. It's the middle of winter, yes? And most of that can be attributed to man-made climate change that is directly driven by industry, business, and the like, right? The point that I'm trying to make is when we scratch a little bit deeper down to the surface, we realize that you being here is what? Very much appreciated by me is the answer. Why? Because if you're not here, what happens? No. No. Who here is a philosophy major? Yo, you are a philosophy major. Oh, me. Yeah, that's it. There's one philosophy major in this class. And I don't know about you, but me personally, I am definitely a fan of not starving, right? So I am glad that the college coerces you people to take these philosophy classes because that's how I get to basically not have to work, essentially, right? Now, that's the part of the free will. But let's take it a little bit further to the scientific part, yes? Now, the science part is the part that really scares me, and here's why. In order for us to have any notion of free will, we, as human beings, have to do something that nothing in this universe is capable of doing. not a black hole, not a sun, not a moon, not an earth, and absolutely for sure not a human being. What is it? I'm sorry? Come here? No, that's not what it is. Anyone want to take a stab at it? Jeremy? No? Let the suspense build a little bit more. We have to be able to overcome the laws of physics. Because without being able to do so, without being able to overcome the laws of physics, we are essentially rendered nothing more than inanimate objects that are floating around the universe, beholden to laws that are completely indifferent to our own desires. You cannot believe in gravity all you want, yes? However, if you take that nonsense up to a high building and say to yourself, I can fly, watch, and jump off, gravity is gonna have a rude awakening for you when you get down to the bottom. Yes? You can desire down to your deepest core to Rachel Dolezal yourself. Y'all familiar with Rachel Dolezal? She's the trans black woman. No? That wasn't familiar with Rachel Dolezal? Someone laughed. Who are you? Achilles? Enlighten them, please, if you will, who Rachel Dolezal is. Trans black. Oh, are you familiar with her? Okay. It's like you're gonna be towing a very sensitive line here, Jay. Okay, and be very towing a very tame, be very towing a very tame, be very towing a very tame.